Welcome to those who are joining. Please tell me how my connection is, audio, video, all of that. Hello, Maria. Hello, Rick. Welcome. All right, we'll get started. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Suko viveko tuttassa sutta dhammassa passato avyapajjang sukkang loke panang buddhe susamyamo sukha viragata loke kamanang sammattikamo asmimanassa yo vinayo etang ve paramang sukkang sabbang Paravasang dukkang sabbang isariyang sukkang sadharane vinyananti yoga hi durattikamati arakatena kayena michaditi gatena chatina midda vibhutena vasang marasa gacchati Tasmarakita chittassa sammasankappa gocharo samaditi purekaro natvana udaya bhayang tina midda vibhubiku sabba dugityo jaheti sukarang sadhu na sadhu sadhu papena dukarang papang papena sukarang papang ariyehi dukarang. English. Blissful is detachment for one who is content, for one who has learned the Dhamma and who sees. Blissful is freedom from anger in the world, restraint towards all living creatures. Blissful is passionlessness in the world, the overcoming of sensual desires. But the abolishing of the conceit I am, that is truly the supreme bliss. All subjection to another is painful, full mastery is bliss. Partners share in affliction, bonds are difficult to overcome. Forsake bad destinations. With an unguarded body and encumbered by wrong views, overcome by lethargy and torpor, one goes along in the power of Mara. So let one's mind be guarded, let one's domain be right thought, by putting right view to the forefront, by understanding rise and fall, and overcoming lethargy and torpor, a bhikkhu will forsake all bad destinations. For the good to do what is good is easy. For the bad to do what is good is difficult. For the bad to do what is good is bad is evil, easy. For the noble to do what is bad is difficult. Sadhu. All right, friends, welcome to Dhammapalooza, and we're just going to jump right into our meditation. So, welcome to Bella and Gautam and Kim. So we will set our bodies up in whatever comfortable and stable position works for you. Do the normal mindful scan of the body, starting from the feet, moving up to the head. Paying close attention to the sensations, the balance of the posture, so that you can set your body up in a stable and comfortable way that will be less pain as you sit. Remember to pay very special close attention to things like the angle of the pelvis, the bending of the spine, Whenever you're done setting your body up in that comfortable and stable position, transition over to following the breath. Take your 3 deep breaths and then let the breath go. Follow the body breathing in and out, in and out. Remember to lay down your burdens. Lay down anything. Let go of anything that might come to your mind as you're trying to follow the breath. Save it for later. Remember, whenever you're distracted away, acknowledge, let go, and return over and over. Come back to the breath. Train your mind to stay on the breath. Every once in a while, check in with the state of your mind. Is your mind becoming more calm and tranquil or not? As it does become more calm and tranquil, you may begin to notice more subtle, deeper characteristics of the breath. Buddha says that a calm mind sees things as they are, a still mind. So as your mind becomes more calm, still, and tranquil, focused on the breath, see if you can observe the more subtle characteristics of the breath, how the breath is changing. Sometimes the breath is long and deep, sometimes short and shallow. See if you can follow the changing breath as the body is breathing in and out. Pay as close attention as you can to the impermanence, the rise and fall of the breath. As the mind becomes more focused and tranquil, you may begin to notice even more subtle characteristics. You might be able to see the full cycle of the breath. Body breathe in, the pause, the brief pause when the lungs are full of air. And the body breathing the air out. The brief pause when the lungs are empty of air. Observing that whole cycle, staying with it step by step. The breath going in and out, in and out. Slowly start to open your eyes, becoming aware of the room around you, your body's position in it. Reflecting on the state of your mind before and after the meditation, and contemplating any experiences that stood out. And while you do that, I'll say hello to Douse. Always good to see Douse, Mudita, Randy, and Gregory. Good to see you all. Gregory asks, uh, how much longer will you be at this temple? So I'm here all this week and all next week. I leave that weekend. So in 2 weekends, I'm leaving. Then I'm going to be in New Jersey for a week and then 2 months in Colorado. All right, friends. Well, it is Monday night. That means it's time for Dhammapalooza. And as usual, we have a variety of different activities that we do. And this will be the second week in a row that we are premiering a new segment. What would you call it? I don't know exactly what I call it yet. Uh, Not like a thought of the day, maybe like a practice tip of the week or something like that. Last week, I talked briefly about the importance of consistency. And this week, I want to talk about an important mindset one has to develop for the practice, for the path. And I personally think there are probably many different examples of this, but the one that I love the best, the one that was impactful for me, was, of course, from Ajahn Brahm, talking about how he was in Thailand and they were meditating, and there were so many mosquitoes, and he was tried to give metta and to be with them as much as possible, but he became so fed up because there were so many and they were so persistent. And he went to Ajahn Chah, to kind of complain or to see what can be done. And Ajahn Chah said, from now on, you call them Ajahn mosquitoes. Ajahn in Thai meaning teacher. And when I first heard that, I was like, that's right. That's absolutely right. And so that helped me to I already kind of had the mindset, but it solidified it for me. Um, Ajahn Chah has solidified many things for me in my years of practice. Um, but then everything was Ajahn. Ajahn New Jersey driving, Ajahn waiting in line at the grocery store, Ajahn whatever. Everything had the potential to uh, help me develop wisdom. No matter any experience, as long as you're awake, any experience that you can have can be a Dhamma teacher. You can learn from that. You can investigate it. You can use it to develop your wisdom and insight. There is no exceptions to this. Any experience. If you have a painful experience, I can learn from this. I can gain some insight from this. At least something good can come out of this. If you have a pleasurable experience, I shouldn't get wrapped up too much in it. Let me learn from it. Right? Either way, whatever it is, painful, pleasant, whatever the experience is, you develop the mindset that I can learn from this. So remember Ajahn mosquito and apply it to Ajahn whatever your experience. Painful, pleasurable, happy, sad, bored, whatever the experience, you can gain insight and wisdom by investigating it. Remember, investigation is the second factor of awakening. It literally is a factor of awakening. So remember this, keep this mindset, develop this mindset in your practice. Whatever it is Ajahn. I can learn from it. I can investigate it. I can understand it. And it will be, in doing so, will be a benefit to me in the long run. So that's my tip for this week. So if there's any comments, questions, or anything related to that, you can put some questions in now. Then maybe we will. No, this is the same camera. I mean, the only thing that I didn't do was manually fiddle with the settings. This is I got this camera, this webcam I don't know, maybe 5, 6 months ago when it's a higher end Logitech, which means I can actually have a program and I can be like saturation, contrast, da, 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 which I kind of like. It helps when the lighting isn't always great. Um, but the lighting here is pretty good. So, hello, Wasabi-chan. Good to see you. It's been a while. All right. Well, why don't we continue on with the Majjhima Nikaya? And if you have any questions, feel free to just type them in. We'll address them. Also, while we're reading the suttas, if you have any questions or need a clarification, you can type it in there in the chat. I do check the chat every couple of minutes or so. We are on Majjhima Nikaya number 7, the simile of the cloth. This. Maybe that's not so good. I don't know. Not that. It's probably big enough for people. You guys tell me which you like better, this one or that one's bigger. I don't know. Am I too much in the way in that one? But and I'll read. Let me maybe make it one size. Okay. So I have heard. At one time, the Buddha was staying near Savatthi in Jeta's Grove and Attapindika's monastery. Ah, there the Buddha addressed the mendicants. Mendicants, venerable sir, they replied. The Buddha said this. Suppose, mendicants, that there was a cloth that was dirty and soiled. No matter what dye the dyer applied, whether blue or yellow or red or magenta, it would look poorly dyed and impure in color. Why is that? Because of the impurity of the cloth. In the same way, when the mind is corrupt, a bad destination, a bad destiny is to be expected. Suppose there was a cloth that was pure and clean. No matter what dye the dyer applied, whether blue or yellow or red or magenta, it would look well dyed and pure in color. Why is that? Because of the purity of the cloth. In the same way, when the mind isn't corrupt, a good destiny is to be expected. And what are the corruptions of the mind? Let's see, what is the the kilesas, yeah. This word here is actually very rare in the suttas. Even though like Thai Forest talks about it all the time. They just talk about kilesas, kilesas, kilesas. It's actually not something that you see very often in the suttas. Let's see. Covetousness and immoral, greed, ill will, anger, acrimony, disdain, contempt, jealousy, stinginess, deceit, deviousness, obstinacy, aggression, conceit, arrogance, vanity, and negligence are corruptions of the mind. Let's see that. Cover some more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's more than 10. What did they say there was 10? Anyway. A mendicant who understands that covetousness and immoral greed are corruptions of the mind gives them up. A mendicant who understands that ill will, negligence is a corruption. So that's an ellipsing of all the listed that we went through already. as a corruption of the mind, gives them up. When they have understood these corruptions of mind for what they are and have given them up, they have experiential confidence in the Buddha. Bhante Sujato has a note here that this means stream enter, right? One who has seen for themselves. That blessed one is perfected, a fully awakened Buddha, accomplished in knowledge and conduct, holy knower of the world, supreme guide for those who wish to train, teacher of gods and humans, awakened and blessed. They have experiential confidence in the teachings. The teaching is well explained by the Buddha, apparent in this present life, immediate, effective, inviting inspection, relevant, so that sensible people can know it for themselves. They have experiential confidence in the Sangha. The Sangha of the Buddha's disciples is practicing the way that's good, sincere, systematic, and proper. It consists of the four pairs of persons, the eight kinds of the four pairs, the eight individuals. This is the Sangha of the Buddha's disciples that is worthy of offerings and worthy of offerings dedicated to the gods, worthy of hospitality, worthy of a religious donation, worthy of greeting with joined palms, and is the supreme field of merit for the world. When a mendicant has discarded, eliminated, released, given up, and relinquished to this extent, thinking, I have experiential confidence in the Buddha, the teaching, the Sangha, they find inspiration in the meaning and the teaching, and find joy connected with the teaching. Thinking, I have discarded, eliminated, released, given up, and relinquished to this extent, they find inspiration in the meaning and the teaching. Let me see. Dhamma, Dhamma. I just want to see the Pali that's being used here for meaning and teaching. All right. And find joy connected with the teaching. When they're joyful, rapture springs up. When the mind is full of rapture, the body becomes tranquil. When the body is tranquil, they feel bliss. And when they're blissful, the mind becomes immersed in samadhi. When a mendicant of such ethics, such qualities, and such wisdom eats boiled fine rice with dark grains picked out and served with many soups and sauces, that is no obstacle for them. Compare with a cloth that is dirty and soiled. It can be made pure and clean and pure. It can be made pure and clean by pure water, or native gold, which can be made pure and bright by a forge. Just reading Dowse's commentary here. Ah, yes. Yes. Very good, Douse. All right. In the same way, when a mendicant of such ethics, such qualities, and such wisdom eats boiled fine rice with dark grains picked out and served with many soups and sauces, that's no obstacle for them. They meditate spreading a heart full of love to one direction, and to the second, and to the third, and to the fourth. In the same way, above, below, across, everywhere, all around, they spread a heart full of love to the whole world, abundant, expansive, limitless, free of enmity and ill will. They meditate spreading a heart full of compassion to one direction, and to the second, and to the third, and to the fourth. In the same way, above, below, across, everywhere, and all around, they spread a heart full of compassion to the whole world, abundant, expansive, limitless, free of enmity and ill will. They meditate spreading a heart full of rejoicing to one direction, and to the second, and to the third, and to the fourth. In the same way, above, below, across, everywhere, and all around, they spread a heart full of rejoicing to the whole world, abundant, expansive, limitless, free of enmity and ill will. They meditate spreading a heart full of equanimity to one direction, and to the second, and to the third, and to the fourth. In the same way, above, below, across, everywhere, and all around, they spread a heart full of equanimity to the whole world, abundant, expansive, limitless, free of enmity and ill will. They understand there is this, there is what is worse than this, there is what is better than this, and there is an escape beyond the scope of perception. Oh, this is interesting. I don't know off the top of my head Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation of this, but I can't recall coming across this from Bhante Sujato before. I'm just going to read this note here. Advanced insight of a stream enter. Okay. Knowing and seeing like this, their mind is freed from defilements of sensuality, desire to be reborn, and ignorance. When they're freed, they know they're freed. They understand rebirth is ended. The spiritual journey has been completed. What had to be done has been done. There's nothing further for this place. They're definitely not stream enters anymore. Now they're arhats. This is called a mendicant who is bathed with the inner bathing. Now, at that time, the Brahmin Bharadvaja of Sundarika was sitting not far from the Buddha. He said to the Buddha, "But does Master Gotama go to the river Bahuka to bathe?" Brahmin, why go to the river Bahuka? What can the river Bahuka do? Many people deem that the river Bahuka leads to a heavenly world and bestows merit. And many people wash off their bad deeds in the river Bahuka. So we have this was one of the views of the samanas back in the day, right? That if you went and you can, by physically, materially washing your body, you can wash off bad deeds, right? Wash off impurities of the mind. We'll see what the Buddha has to say about that. Then the Buddha addressed Bharadvaja of Sundarika in verse. The Bahuka and the Adhikaka at Gaya and the Sundarika too. Sarasvati and Payaga and the river Bahumati. A fool can constantly plunge into them. There's no no mention of the Ganges, the Ganga. But it won't purify their dark deeds. What can the Sundarika do? What the Payaga or the Bahuka? They can't cleanse a cruel person, a sinner, from their bad deeds. For the pure in heart, it's always the spring festival or the Sabbath. For the pure in heart and clean of deed, their vows will always be fulfilled. It's here alone that you should bathe, Brahman, making yourself a sanctuary for all creatures. And if you speak no lies, nor harm living creatures, nor steal anything not given, and you're faithful and not stingy, what's the point of going to Gaia? For any well may be your Gaia. When he had spoken, the Brahmin Bharadvaja of the Sundarika said to the Buddha, "Excellent, Master Gotama, excellent," as if he were riding the overturned or revealing the hidden, or pointing out the path to the lost, or lighting a lamp in the dark so people with clear eyes can see what's there. Master Gotama has made the teaching clear in many ways. I go for refuge to the Master Gotama, to the teaching, and to the Mendicant Sangha. May I receive the going forth, the ordination in Master Gotama's presence. The going forth is the Samanera ordination. That's the Pabbajja. The full ordination, Bhikkhu ordination, is the Upasampada. So he's requesting the Pabbajja. And the Brahmin Bharadvaja of Sundarika received the going forth, the ordination. So it says here, Santike Pabbajjang Alatta Upasampadang. So he received both the going forth and the higher ordination and the Buddha's presence. Not long after his ordination, Venerable Bharadvaja, living alone, withdrawn, diligent, keen, and resolute, soon realized the supreme end of the spiritual path in this very life. He lived having achieved with his own insight the goal for which gentlemen rightly go forth from lay life to homelessness. He understood rebirth is ended, the spiritual journey has been completed, what had to be done has been done. There's nothing further for this place. And Venerable Bharadvaja became one of the perfected. All right. We will move to next week, and then 8 very famous sutta. For now, we have time for about half hour or so. We have time for questions, or we can do some like sutta roulette, things like that. So, let's see. Dallas asks, what is a sangha? For sometimes I hear people referring to even a subreddit as a sangha, which doesn't even consist of most practitioners. In a general term, a sangha is just a community. It's just a group. In Buddhism, as it's come down, when we think of sangha, what we normally think of or we normally talk about when we say sangha is bhikkhu sangha or bhikkhuni sangha. Clarifying it's the sangha of monastics. But sangha really just means like a community or a group of people. That's really its meaning in the Pali. Hello, Visakha. Welcome. I hope that you and your daughter and your granddaughters are all doing well. Kim says, I'm not a gambler. Well, that's okay. The only thing you win is hearing the Dhamma. So this is wholesome roulette. It's funny. I've never really been a gambler either. I was like, well, the house always wins, so I'm not going to give them money, even though I went to college, like 20 minutes from Atlantic City. That's where I went to college. I had a roommate who was a pretty big compulsive gambler. Like wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning to like drag me to, to the casino. And I would, I would spend like $5, $10 on roulette. I kind of like roulette. You never know what number is coming up or whatever. And so sutta roulette is the same thing. We don't know what sutta is coming up, right? We know it's going to be uh, Anguttara Nikaya or Samyutta Nikaya, whatever, but we have no idea what the sutta is going to be. We have no idea what the topic is going to be. It's all just based on random numbers picked by the community. So it's good. It's like gambling where what you win is the Dhamma. That's the best kind of gambling. All right. Rick says, can you talk about ways to cultivate and strengthen mudita during meditation and daily life? So the way I don't know that this is necessarily specifically said in the suttas, but in my experience and my practice, what I would say is the way you develop um, the other Brahma Viharas comes from your metta. So, like when you develop metta, what you're developing is a basic level of friendliness for all beings. So, if you have friendliness for all beings, then it's very easy to have compassion for them. It's very easy to have good. Oh, they're doing well. Very good. You have mudita. You have joy because of their happiness. If you don't have metta for somebody, it's all yeah, your mind's like feels hurt. Your mind feels like it's been attacked when somebody it doesn't like has something good happen to them. Like the universe did something wrong, right? So your mind feels like all like that. But if your metta is very good and very strong, naturally compassion, uh, or, joy, and appreciative joy and equanimity arise because you have goodwill for all beings. You give all beings the benefit of the doubt. And so when you experience them, you have an equanimous mind. Whatever they do, equanimous mind, coming, engaging with them with a mind of goodwill, with a mind of compassion, with a mind of appreciative joy. So really, strengthening mudita comes from strengthening metta. Because if you have people that you don't like, right, or people that your mind is agitated about, especially mudita is just not gonna. I mean, you can, attempt compassion, but it more turns into like a pity. Like, I feel so sorry for them. They're so stupid. Right? Like it turns into this kind of like it's not really compassion. Because it's not really goodwill. It's just kind of like performative, or at least it's a poor attempt, right? So that's what I would say. You know, um, you could also do like the Buddha has like reflections, like you see somebody who's doing well, and you say, I also have done well in the past. Right? Whether in this lifetime or past lifetimes. I also have experienced this. And so that gives you, like, whatever your situation is, that kind of gives you that solid grounding, that equanimity of, what it's okay. I can have goodwill, friendliness, and appreciative joy over somebody else's good fortune, somebody else's karma, somebody else's luck, whatever. Um, so that's what I would say. Strengthen your metta. And one of the ways you strengthen your metta is by strengthening your wisdom into anicca, right? So you do the whole practice, and the four Brahma Viharas start to naturally come. Oh, Visaka, I'm doing well. Hello, Chris. I hope you are doing well. Uh, speaking of gambling, what did the Buddha say about occasional gambling? The Buddha didn't have much good to say about gamblers, right? You can see that in the Sigalovada Sutta, like untrustworthiness and, stuff like that. The same thing with like people who are like abuse alcohol, etc. Um, undependable people, basically, because you're mired in a very strong addiction cycle. Not a good thing. I mean, occasional gambling. I mean, I guess you could ask the same question. Well, what about occasionally having a glass of wine? How that's not really breaking the fifth precept. No, yeah, just probably better not to gamble, or at least doing it for, um, like instead of going out and spending whatever much on like dinner or movies or whatever. I'm just going to go and use that money and whatever, if I lose it, I lose it. That's fine. It's kind of like just an activity. Um, but there's a danger in that kind of a thing, because the danger is of the possibility of getting something easy, or getting something for essentially free, right? That triggers this, kind of this mechanisms in the mind that get addicted to that. I might go home rich. You're not going to go home rich. That's just not how it goes. The house always wins. This is a well-known thing. Unless you're one of those like genius card counters or whatever, the house always wins. And then once they find out they see if you're a card counter, they don't. I mean, you're not doing anything illegal. They just don't let you play anymore, because the house always wins. It's a good lesson in life, actually. You can apply this to many other things. You can't fool Mara. Mara always wins. Right? You have to. You can't play Mara's game. You have to go where Mara cannot find you, to stay in your domain. Mindfulness, right? Or else Mara has you under his control. What do you think about using music to enhance mindfulness? Does music enhance mindfulness? I don't know about that. I mean, music can be an experience to apply mindfulness to, but you know, for somebody who's a serious Buddhist practitioner, don't use any kind of, maybe like you're brand new, maybe a crutch is something, okay, but after some years, yeah, I mean, music and this and that, probably not the best thing. Reminds me of when I was a young monk, and a friend a local supporter wanted to take me to one of those float tanks. And I said, okay, sure, I'll go. Why not? And, it's like you get totally naked and you get in this like futuristic pod. It looks like they're going to freeze you for, 1,000 light year journey. You're going to wake up in another solar system. So like you get in this pod and you're like floating on this water. And if you do it just right, all the physical senses basically go away. There's nothing to hear. There's nothing to feel. There's nothing to taste. There's nothing to smell. There's nothing to see because your eyes closed or you're in the darkness. Although you can also turn on the light if that gets scary. Um, and so all your senses go away, except for one, the mind, right? And afterwards, the owner of the place was really excited because no monk had ever come, and they wanted to kind of, what was the monk gonna say about this? And I said, you know, I can see it being very helpful to people who have injuries. I can see it very helpful to people who just need kind of like a pause break, something to help clear the mind. Um, but for a serious Buddhist practitioner, we're actually not trying to um, be distracted or have the senses go away. We're trying to understand, to see, to know, right? So for like a serious Buddhist practitioner, I can't recommend it, but I'm sure it's very beneficial to a lot of people for a lot of reasons. So where do you come up with these things, Dallas? Though with gambling, you have slightly higher chance than with rites and rituals. Chance for what? Not for the development of wisdom, anyway. Rick says, as a layperson, what are the correct ways to use the word anumodana when you see somebody who does something really good, right? Some kind of meritorious deed. Anumodana means I rejoice in your good deed. I rejoice in your goodness. This is why, like, as a monk for Buddhist people, like they give you something, you never, ever, ever say thank you. Most Buddhist people, they'll be okay because they understand you're a Westerner. That's kind of what you do. But if the monk says thank you, there's kind of a few thoughts of like it kind of ruins the giving in a way. I learned this fairly early on. So with Buddhist people, with Westerners, I'll still say thank you. But with Buddhist people, I say anumodana, anumodana. That just means I rejoice in your goodness. I rejoice in your good deeds. Like I think even Buddhist people don't kind of know what it means. Like even here with the Indonesians, when I say anumodana, and I one time I was like, oh yeah, I explained to them just how I was explaining to them, like, and they said, oh, we thought anumodana just meant like thank you in Pali. So they kind of use it as like almost like a thank you as well. But really what it is like you've done a good deed and I rejoice in that. Like we want the devas or our relatives to rejoice in our good deeds that we give, you know, um, do some kind of meritorious deed in their name, etc. That kind of stuff. So that's what Anumodana means and how to use it. I am attending an online Rewiring Your Brain Summit. That sounds like I'm actually like, could you send me a link to that? I'd like to kind of, it piques my curiosity. Like, what is that? What do they mean by that? Like, what kind of practices or teachings do they do there? That sounds interesting. Gregory says, instead of thank you, rejoice you. Yeah. All right. Why don't we do one Sutta roulette, and then we'll read some Dhammapada, and then that'll probably be it. We got about a little less than 15 minutes left. Let's do Samyutta Nikaya. A number between 1 and 57 in 3, 2, 1, go. 22. So that first number determines the Samyutta, the chapter that we're going to, or the book. So we want to go down to 1 to 11, 12 to 21, 22. We are in the linked discourse on the aggregates. So now, a number between 1 and 50. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, hello, Beeline. That's a name I'm not familiar with. Thank you for participating. So 49. All right. So we gotta scroll down. 22, the first 50. We're at the very end. The chapter on Be Your Own Island. Adipamo. Going down to 49. With a sona. One time the Buddha was staying near Rajagaha, the bamboo grove, and the squirrels' feeding ground. Then the householder Sona went up to the Buddha. The Buddha said to him, Sona, there are ascetics and Brahmins who, based on form, which is impermanent, suffering, and perishable, regard themselves thus: I'm better, or I'm equal, or I'm worse. What is that but a failure to see clearly or truly? Based on feeling, perception, choices, consciousness. Oh, based on four. Okay. So yeah. So we're going through the five aggregates. Choices, consciousness, which is impermanent, suffering, and perishable. They regard themselves as thus: I'm better, I'm equal, I'm worse. What is that but a failure to see truly? There are ascetics and Brahmins who, based on form, which is impermanent, suffering, imperishable, don't regard themselves as I'm better, uh, I'm equal, or worse. What is that but seeing truly? Based on feeling, perception, choices, consciousness, which is impermanent, suffering, perishable, they don't regard themselves thus I'm better, or I'm equal, or I'm worse. What is that but seeing truly? What do you think, Sona? Is form permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, venerable sir. But if it's impermanent, is it suffering or happiness? Suffering, venerable sir. But if it's impermanent, suffering, imperishable, is it fit to be regarded as thus? This is mine. I am this. This is myself. Etang mama, eso hamasmi, eso me atati. No hetang bante. No, sir. Is feeling, perception, choices, consciousness permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, sir. But if it's impermanent, is it suffering or happiness? Suffering, sir. But if it's impermanent, suffering, imperishable, is it fit to be regarded thus? This is mine, I am this, this is myself. No, sir. So, Sona, you should truly see any kind of form at all, past, future, or present, internal or external, solid or subtle, inferior or superior, far and near, all form with right understanding. This is not mine, I am not this, this is not myself. You should truly see any kind of feeling, perception, choices, consciousness at all, past, future, or present, internal, external, solid or subtle, inferior, superior, far and near, all consciousness with right understanding. This is not mine, I am not this, this is not myself. Seeing this, a learned noble disciple grows disillusioned with form, feeling, perception, choices, and consciousness. Being disillusioned, desire fades away. When desire fades away, they're freed. When they're freed, they know they're freed. They understand rebirth is ended, the spiritual journey has been completed. What had to be done has been done. There is nothing further for this place. And so, actually, this is a very good sutta because what the sutta mixes up a couple different ones, one of which is Anatalakana. But this sutta actually is kind of putting together things that are not normally together, but are together. Like I don't remember ever reading them. I'm sure I did because I've read through all the suttas. I'm on my second read through of all of them now. Um, Not even counting our regular one on the Discord. But what I'm trying to say is, I understood because in the beginning when I first read this, I'm better. Okay, I understand. That's kind of conceited. I'm worse than. Oh, I understand. That's kind of. I'm equal to. Like my mind, my kind of Western liberal mind was like, oh, equal. That's good. And it took me a while to understand what this means. You are making a judgment from the position of I am. This is why the Buddha says, goes right from, okay, you are not seeing rightly based on form, feeling, based on the five aggregates. You're taking a position of I am. I am greater, lesser, equal. Right then and there, suffering. Right then and there, you have created suffering because you are engaging with the world in a delusional way that doesn't actually exist in reality. You are taking what simply is a kanda, a grouping of things, adding I am to them. And then from that I am, you're adding I'm greater, I'm lesser, I'm equal. This is why the Buddha goes into Anatalakana Sutta, into uh, is what's impermanent? Is that suffering or happiness? Right? Impermanence, that's dukkha. Dukkha bhante. Yeah, exactly. Right? So this is what the sutta is saying. Sutta is saying the second you have this I am, the conceit I am, as we chanted in the beginning, actually is quite appropriate. The first chant, right? Abolishing of the conceit I am is the highest bliss. Right? You have the conceit I am. You are judging based on I am this. I am greater, lesser, equal. You've already created suffering. As soon as you have I am, you have suffering. That's how it goes. All right. Well, looks like we have reached the end. So, for those of you who are joining for the first time, watching this for the first time, if you'd like to find out more information about myself and the organization I'm helping to build with many Dhamma friends from around the world, Maggaseka, you can go to the website listed on the screen, maggaseka.org, maggaseka.org. And there you will find everything related to all my teachings, everything that I do, news, articles, travels, etc. You can find that all on the website there. So let's share merit. Dukkha patta chane dukkha, baya patta chane baya, soka patta chane soka, hantu sabbe pipaniyo, etavata cha mehi sampatang punya sampatang, sabbe deva anumodantu, sabba sampati siddhya, akasata chapumata, deva naga mehitika, punyang tang anumoditva, charang rakantu sasanang. May the suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit of ours that we've thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas, nagas, and yakas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddhist dispensation. Sad, sad, sad. All right, friends, we come to the end of another Dhammapalooza. So Suki Hotu, which means may you be happy and at ease. Practice well and be well. And may you have a spiritually successful and peaceful practice until we meet again, which could be tomorrow morning for Morning Monastery Experience, which we do Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. New York time for a half hour, which consists of precepts, chanting, and a little Dhamma talk, a little thought of the day for a couple minutes. Or perhaps maybe insight timer next Saturday, or on the Discord Sunday night sutta reading together with myself and Ayasu Dhamma, and sometimes Venerable Pasana in the community, or if I'm around for a whole week from now, next Monday for another Dhammapalooza. Have a good week, friends.